As of about 5 minutes ago, Magic Online has pushed out a new update that changes how some of the cards look and some of the zoom functionality today. So I'm going to be learning how this works live while I am recording this video. So just heads up, I'm learning too. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another modern video, and today we are going to be playing with Timothy's Birthing Ritual deck. The new zoom, it's bigger. So, at the beginning of your end step, if you control a creature, look at the top 7 cards of your library. Then, that is after you have looked, you may sacrifice a creature. If you do, you may put a creature card with mana value X or less from among those cards onto the battlefield, where X is 1 plus the sacrificed creature's mana value, and then the rest go on the bottom. So, Timothy has called this one Bouncing Ritual. The idea is to use this birthing pod-esque ritual card to turn your tokens or your otherwise small creatures into creatures that increasingly give you more and more value over time by drawing cards, making tokens, removing other creatures, drawing cards, or bouncing permanents. And we even have a Blade Splicer for the modern era that has a bonus activated ability on it. Timothy's deck here has gone into blue for cards like Soulherder, as well as Thassa Deep Dwelling, which are both ways to just blink a creature, get it to come back, and get that additional value. We also have just a few copies of Collected Company here to serve as additional ways to generate card advantage as the game goes along. Now, I am a legacy expert. I am a player who occasionally plays Modern because people bribe me to play Modern, and I have enjoyed the Modern that I have played a lot. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tell you what my gut feeling is about this deck, and then, rather than changing things, because I am not a Modern master here, I'm going to play the League and see if my gut feeling is correct. My gut feeling is that it's really weird that this deck stops effectively at CMC3. And I say effectively because most of our ETB triggers are coming at mana values 2 and 3. And it feels to me like if you are playing Birthing Ritual, you want to get bigger and bigger and bigger. The chain here ends with Luminous Broodmoth, which whenever a creature you control without flying dies, you return to the battlefield under its owner's control with a flying counter. And that can let you kind of reuse some of these triggered abilities and get evasion on these value creatures. But it seems to me like we should either be playing some more 4-drops that generate value themselves. This is just something that is more value for the blink things you already have. I feel like we should be going up to Solitude. And it also seems kind of crazy to me that we're not playing Ephemerate in a deck that looks like this with all of these ETB triggers. So I have a feeling that I am not going to like the blue in this deck, and I'm going to wish that we were just green-white that went just like an itty-bitty bit bigger. But if I try to edit this deck list, I'm going to edit all of the blue bouncing stuff out of it, and then we have lost the essence of Timothy's donation. So I don't want to do that. So I'm going to put my play points where my mouth is. I'm going to try this out. We're going to see how this feels. And throughout the league, I'm going to be thinking, like, do I want Ephemerate? Do I want Solitude? I will say I love Timothy's sideboard here. This sideboard feels so clean. Sanctifier in Vec is really hard hitting versus a lot of graveyard and graveyard value decks. And then we just have like a crash course in like the goated hate bears from throughout Magic's history, including a new one that lets us blow up some Eldrazi lands. So I think this deck overall is really sweet, and I'm just left with that question, is the blue a good idea? If you need some blinky boys to test out at your next FNM, please consider checking out my sponsor, TOAmagic.com. Aether Drift will probably also be coming out around the time that this video ends up releasing, so if you need some new cards, consider checking them out. Promo code ThrabenU will save you 5% on your order, no matter what you're ordering, and you always get free shipping, which is hot. So, Let's go blink some cards. All right, opening hand here is lacking in green mana, so I don't have Ocelot Pride into Voice of Resurgence, which I don't like, so I think I'm going to go ahead and mulligan this one. That's a weird looking hand. Are we fine with this? I think I'm fine with this, and I think I just need to believe in the deck here, and I'll pass the turn. So, notably here, the deck has one of each basic. Oh geez, that goes up there? What if I just hover here? Okay. And now if I do this, okay. Figuring it out. Go away? Yeah. Anyway, the deck has one of each snow-covered land, so we do have the possibility of going and turning on the Death Touch of Icefang Coatl, but we are much more interested in reusing this body via blink effects and bouncing and birthing rituals and whatnot. We've got a Blood Crypt and an IOK. In my opinion, my best card is the Birthing Ritual in this hand. I don't think it's close. Opponent disagrees. I am, I think, perfectly happy to just play out the Birthing Ritual this turn, even though it's not doing anything immediately. And then next turn, I will do cool things with it. Got another fetch land. Or, sorry, a first fetch land on their end. So, Jund, 15, and pass turn. I hope my Birthing Ritual isn't about to get Abrupt Decayed. Yeah. And we're going to try to move to the end step. Imagine my Guide of Souls is dead. Or my Birthing Ritual is dead. Something's dying. Oh shit. For real? Okay, it is a Boseiju. But I get the whole trigger thing, right? I think I still get the whole trigger thing. It doesn't require Birthing Ritual to be in play. I'm going to pick up a Lush Portico. And I'm just going to do this now. Oh, we can go deep here with cards, actually. Like I can get a Meticulous Archive as well. We're going in. Do not want Hollowed Fountain. I do not want Windswept Heath. It's +1. No jump to 2 there is a little annoying. I think I am going to take Ocelot Pride here over the Guide of Souls with minimal other support. So let's just convert that into an Ocelot Pride. It's going to be worse versus a Bowmaster specifically. I don't think my Guide of Souls is doing me any favors right now. And sometimes I can just Prismatic Ending an opposing threat and then just get in there. Sorin. Sure. This probably makes me sad, I imagine. This is just going to be a Vein Ripper, which does not get answered by Prismatic Ending. Or Skyclave Apparition, for that matter. You lifelink or anything? You don't lifelink or anything. Alright. Green. White. Blue. We'll junk Sorin. I'm going to play this as a land. And then I'll go ahead and pass. Then I can play like a Skyclave Apparition into a Birthing Ritual. We sure don't have many outs to a Vein Ripper without something like Solitude in the deck. We have a couple of the blue Aether Duders that can bounce it. It's not a permanent answer, but hopefully it's good enough. This has Lifelink and Death Touch. Yeah, that sure is not great. Do not want. I'll take that bit of damage. So I will Skyclave. I will take out the Sorin. I will punch with Ocelot Pride. But I'm taking a lot of damage here. Also didn't quite have the City's Blessing. My Ocelot Pride trigger puts me to 14 if I don't fetch, which still leaves me dead to this next turn. There's also just the fact that when my creatures die, I am going to get bled to death. Malevolent Rumble gets permanent, so that's just a land. That's fine. And looting. There be Bloodghasts. Alright, we're gonna have 6 here. Bloodghast is sweet. Bloodghast can't block, but I sure don't have flyers here. I'm just going to eat 7. I'm not going to fetch on the off chance that I can string something together here that's meaningful. So even if I gain a life, which is not certain, I am dead to the Vein Ripper in the air. GG. Oh, geez. Okay. We gotta... Oh my gosh. Everything is gargantuan. Alright, so Sanctifier Invec. Absolutely gonna slap here. That's gonna be fantastic. Endurance, probably pretty good as well. Yeah, we are not actually that great at going from Guide of Souls into 2-drop now, are we? Noted. Yeah, I think I'm gonna play these value creatures that address the graveyard in some capacity. I need Aether Channeler. That card is very important. I think even though my opponent can answer Birthing Ritual, I think it's just very, very important to do. Ice Fang Coatl with Death Touch is something I can theoretically work towards, or another thing that answers Vein Ripper. I think I need to keep this stuff. Let's go those out. I don't know that we need the Blade Splicer style stuff if I'm bringing in Endurances as well. So this is a couple of Ice Fang Coatls that cantrip, and the ability to blink them. Maybe around turn 4 or 5, these can be Death Touchers. This is unexciting to me. I also have trouble with white in this hand for Sanctifier Invec. This hand is very good against discard, though, and I imagine that my opponent is playing roughly 4 Thoughtseizes and 4 Inquisitions. So we're just gonna accept. I'm gonna be looking for some more mana here, because I really would like basics. We've got a fetch land. Are you gonna pay the modern tax? Start the game at 15 life? No. It's just a looting. And there is a Bloodghast in there. Well, that's fine. I think because Orcish Bowmasters is a card that exists, I am just going to sorcery speed this. I don't know if my opponent is playing it. Again, not a modern expert, so I don't know whether or not I am playing around a Bowmaster or just giving my opponent information that I don't need to be giving them. And then over the next couple of turns, I have some pretty good value if I can get it going. 17 plus a Bloodghast trigger and a Malevolent Rumble. And so my opponent does have Fable of the Mirrorbreaker in hand. The Broodmoth's cool. I'm thinking about whether I would like to Guide of Souls plus Ice Fang or whether I would like to Soulherder. I think I would like to Soulherder. And I think I can get a basic snow-covered land here. 16, fetch, plains, and we'll just take a Soulherder blink here on the Ice Fang Coatl and start scaling up Soulherder. Birthing Ritual is a great pickup. So one of my hopes here is that I put tension on my opponent using Fable of the Mirrorbreaker versus needing to remove my own stuff. I would love for them to spend a couple of mana just addressing my board. I just have so much value here. So this is going to return another Bloodghast. That is a Sorin. Bloodghasts notably are vampires, so they are usable with both of Sorin's, well, I guess all 3 of Sorin's abilities, but if you're going to play a Sorin and then -3 for a Bloodghast, things have gotten really fucking weird. And this is sweet, because my opponent can sacrifice the Summoning Sick Bloodghast to go and kill my Soulherder, and then be able to attack in safely with the other Bloodghast. I would like to find some more mana here. I think you're supposed to attack before you do that fetch. The attack is free. Just so very, very free. Return the other Bloodghast. Okay, you're gonna just kill my thing. Same overall end result. So now I'm gonna be making a difficult choice. I can Skyclave the Sorin, or I can try to play ball. I can just floop down Guide of Souls Birthing Ritual and hope to roll a little hot here. Skyclaving the Sorin is probably correct. I'm gonna be a little grumpy about it, but it is probably correct to just not let my opponent top deck a Vein Ripper and just instantly win the game. These Bloodghasts are gonna come in. I think I'm just gonna take the hit here and not block. I have some things that I can do with Endurance. Unfortunately, I just don't think time is on my side here. I do not think that I'm going to get time to get my engine going. And this is where I wish I had like Solitude Ephemerate sorts of things that could just instantly remove 2 of these 3 creatures, stabilize my board, and then give me the time to get set up with all of my dirtling. This fetch land means that blocking these is not going to be super profitable. Notably, my opponent has apologized for lagging a lot on their end. We are immediately after a Magic Online update. That's not overly surprising. It'll probably even itself out. I think I'm interested in high rolling. I think I want to do this, draw a card. Play Birthing Ritual and see where this Birthing Ritual trigger goes. A Skyclave? A Skyclave's okay. I just got a message. Voice of Resurgence is not the worst either. I think I'm going to go in here. I'm a little worried about giving my opponent a 2/2 token, but I think we are on a answer one problem at a time sort of situation. Opponent's fetching, getting the Mortuary, and keeping the card. So I have answered this Fable, so I don't have to worry about stuff being copied. I have some longer term problems. New Malevolent Rumble. Pick up a Sorin, can pick up a fetch land to just keep these alive. They are going to take the Sorin. There's 3 mana to cast it. Plus there's also the Goblin Shaman trigger. You don't lifelink or anything, do you? No. Alright, so there's Sorin. Everybody's coming in. Do I need to block one of these? I'm going to say no and try to slam Luminous Broodmoth on my next turn. And then I just get much better value. There's some problems here, though. The Bloodghasts are now going to have haste for the future. It looks like a Bloodghast is getting sacrificed now. So my plan of trying to get both of these to come back, not gonna happen. Oh man, it comes back immediately. I was hoping I might get to Endurance Exile it. I don't think it is worth pitching that here. I might be just casting this, like Guide of Souls into Endurance. Direct damage from Sorin is also a problem. That just kills me in 2 turns, or any creature getting through also kills me. I almost wish I had triple white here. Guide, ending. I think I'm hoping the Birthing Ritual does something cool. I think I'm just dead. I can, like, ending, leave the vampires. I could ending 1, Guide of Souls the other. Add Endurance to this. I can 2 mana ending, 1 mana ending, have a 2/2 in play. Probably still be in really bad shape. Let's try to high roll something happening here. Let's do this. Let's clear out that graveyard and see what happens with Birthing Ritual. I can turn Guide of Souls into Icefang Coatl to draw another card. That doesn't feel great. I could turn Endurance into Guide of Souls. That's really not going anywhere immediately. It feels like I'm just too slow here. I'll sacrifice the Guide of Souls, convert that, draw a card. I think I'm just getting run over. My 1-drop's not converting into 2-drops well. Also a bit of a problem. Alright, so I lose a creature, at which point my opponent has certainly lethal damage. I'm going to go ahead and concede. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. It's just the best place to keep your online deck lists, and it's also a great tool if you're a competitive tournament player. What I'm showcasing here is its Compare feature. You can take 2 deck lists, plug in links to both of them, and then see which cards are unique to deck list A, which cards are unique to deck list B, and which cards are shared with both of them. And you can do this both with the main deck and the sideboard. If you are looking to fine-tune a deck list, this is a great way to do that. Alright, I don't think this hand has a game plan to win. I'm going to go ahead and mulligan this one. With only 1 land, this is not doing it. I'm going to go to 5 rather than keep that risky. And, yet. Alright. We're going to get rid of the blue cards that I cannot currently cast. I don't know, Renegade Rallier is currently not great. Maybe I keep Soulherder and hope that we can chain Soulherder plus the Salvager together. And we're missing playing Ocelot Pride on turn 1 because we have a Surveil land here. Sacred Foundry. Burn, Boros Energy. Burn, Rift Bolt suspended. So we got 3 incoming damage in just a minute. So I don't want that pointed at Ocelot Pride, so I am going to go ahead and Lush Portico this turn. I'm going to say that I don't want that land drop. I, in theory, would like to find Guide of Souls to go with Ocelot Pride. That's kind of the dream here. So 17. And we might not have time to set up our bullshit here. That's very bad for me. Well, all right. So, Hallowed Fountain or Basic Plains. We've got to make this library bigger. I think I like basic planes, despite the fact that I have a Soulherder in hand, because I am about to take 4 damage from the Eidolon. I think I need to play out both of these. It gives me a path forward. Not being able to play the Pride on turn 1 because of Rift Bolt was a huge problem. Bolt Wave, 3 damage. I do have 2 First Strike Lifelingers, but if my opponent attacks, I'm not sure that I can block. I think I just have to let it happen, because if I double block and my opponent bolts one of these, I lose access to this stuff, which I think is too much of a problem. So I think I just take the 2 and try to gain that 2 back on my own turn. I will probably only gain 1 back, but it's a plan. Ooh. Yeah, okay. That's not unexpected. Does it have a non-creature clause? No. So I can destroy the Eidolon with it. I think that becomes my plan for my mana in this turn cycle. Put my opponent to 11. Drop a land and pass. Gain my cat. We are a little ways away from the city's blessing. I can also just die to triple red removal spell here. Let's take that out. We slow down the spectacle stuff by not letting that deal damage to us. It's also possible that I could chump block with the cat and try to get my opponent to deal more damage to themselves here. I'm at 5. I am getting spectacled. Am I dead? I am dead. So I could play that differently. I could Boseiju the Eidolon immediately and then try to play the Ocelot Prides afterwards. I was intending the Boseiju to be my 3rd land drop, though. I thought I would need my 3rd land to get going. I think I drew the other land afterwards. These cards are not the best here. Pro-red creature is fine. I don't know that it's much better than fine, but it's fine. I probably just want to lower my curve and do something that looks like this. You blink a creature. You aren't really a creature yourself a lot of the time. I just want to play like 1/2/2 First Striker over a Coco. I don't know. Maybe a Coco is not crazy. It does just find bodies for Guide of Souls triggers. We are struggling in the land drop department here. I'm going to try keeping this one. Guide of Souls and Ocelot Pride is exactly what I do want for this matchup. And I theoretically have 3 turns worth of play. Theoretically. This deck might just need more land as well. Modern tax. Guide of Souls. Opponent pays their own modern tax. And I get bolted immediately. The ETB tapped land means that I can't play Voice of Resurgence here. I do want the 3rd land. I would really prefer something like a fetch for Renegade Rallier. I think I am just going to accept the mediocre card here and play a cat. Opponent has 2nd land drop. A Swift Spear. Another Swift Spear. Okay, both are coming in. I'll be taking those hits. All right, cool. So, punchies. Send in for 1. Fantastic. Now, I am into removing Swift Spear, and I think this is worth the 2 life. This puts a reasonable body into play. This probably gains me 2 or so life from a Monastery Swift Spear attack. Oh, shit. So much for that. The Renegade Ralliers are just kind of embarrassing right now, unfortunately. This is a good news, bad news situation, though. So the bad news is I just lost my board. The good news is that I am at 13 life. Generally speaking, that's a lot of life. All right. So let's do this. Let's get a blue Surveil land here. It doesn't really matter which one. Sanctifier Invec? Yeah. Okay, so are we into immediate Sanctifier Invec, or are we into just bring back Ocelot Pride? I think I like immediate Sanctifier Invec. I think I am the beatdown now. Like, I get a pro-red creature that gets to wall Swift Spear. I get to attack for 3 immediately. And then I attack for a gajillion D the following turn as well. I think my role has shifted here. It's just grabbing their Sacred Foundry. That's fine. All right, cool. Man, those Renegade Ralliers went from being dead and doing nothing to being absolutely insane. I could lower my curve further on the draw, doing something like that. I could even, like, do that? What about 3-4 endurance? Is there anything to that? I don't know that there's anything to that. So I probably can't play this game on basics for Ice Fang Coatl, which means if I keep this hand, I'm just keeping a hand that casts a prismatic ending and prays. I don't think that sounds good. Yeah, no, this is way better. So turn 1 Guide of Souls, turn 2 Ocelot Pride, and probably a tapped land of some kind. Turn 3 Salvager. This is a keep. This gets rid of an Eidolon. I'm going to keep this around, get rid of Temple Garden. Opponent pays the modern tax and plays Goblin Guide. Another Guide of Souls. You don't say. I absolutely do not mind that. Although Pyroclasm will absolutely fuck my shit up. Basic Plains. Guide of Souls. Fast turn. And we'll see how crazy aggressive my opponent's draw is here. Searing Blaze is great for my opponent. That just keeps the pressure up. And I'm effectively at 10. I need another white source this turn. That allows me to Guide of Souls into Ocelot Pride. And then this whole energy generation cat business starts up, getting me another life, and perhaps more importantly, a chump blocker. Goblin Guide goes on the defensive, which is probably good for me. Okay, my opponent has 5 cards in hand. That feels like an early concession to me, but I guess if they don't have targeted removal to stop this, it will overwhelm them. All right, GG's, I guess. All right, my opponent has begun the game with a Leyline of the Guild Pact in play. I have an Ocelot Pride into Birthing Ritual as my primary plan here. I have some specific draws that require me to have a dual land here. I think I'm just going to pick up a Temple Garden accordingly. Play a cat. Now, getting the token here would be cool. Like, if I get to attack with Ocelot Pride, get my token, Birthing Ritual the token into something, that would be nice. But my opponent immediately has things like Leyline Binding on, so I can't really count on that happening. Send in with the cat. It is going to be a Leyline Binding, unfortunately. I think if you have that, you do it on your own turn, so I can't do something like Ephemerate this, but that might just be where my head is at, because I specifically want to add Ephemerate into this deck. So now I just have too much expensive stuff in hand, unfortunately. We've got some mana tapping issue here. That is a Territorial Kavu. I can Prismatic Ending that. Or we could Renegade Rallier. I mean, Renegade Rallier starts me playing the game and sets me up for Coco next turn. This might be greedy. I'm going to pick up a basic here. I think I have to believe in Birthing Ritual a bit. I think I don't do this before the Birthing Ritual trigger. Sure. Sacrifice Renegade Rallier. Pick up Renegade Rallier, which lets me pick up a fetch land again. I have sorcery speed removal, so I don't get to go harder than that. But then hopefully we do like Collected Company and do Birthing Ritual and we win the game somehow from there. We are going to take 5 from this though. Opponent chooses the loot option. Dunks a redundant Leyline. Down to 9. And a tapped Triome. I think I'm going to double fetch Surveil lands here. Bring me down to 7. We'll just kind of dig. Ice Fang Coatl. That was another thing I could be working towards with those fetches, and I didn't work towards it. I'm just going to put that into my graveyard. That would allow Prismatic Ending into Coco. I'm going to go ahead and take that. So I will fetch a basic here. We can get the basic Forest. Ending the Kavu. Go to Punchies. Send in with a 3-2. And Orcish Bowmasters. Sure. You can go ahead and ping my creature. I think I let the block happen. And then I Coco. Oh shit, this is a 3-2. I was thinking 3-3. It's fine. I guess I have like a bounce thing that could... the blue bounce token guy could do some things here. So... I like these two, I think. And any order for those is fine. So we'll trade you for the token there. Then we'll go to end step and keep the value train rolling. Aether Channeler a little late to the show. I think I'm going to sacrifice Voice of Resurgence here. What all do you bounce? Another non-land permanent. So I could bounce the Guild Pact thingy to my opponent's hand and make their mana worse, force them to fetch. I don't hate that. I could Skyclave it as well. I think that's less good. I'm just going to bounce that out of play. Let's not think about the Scion of Draco type cards. And then we can start trying to do Thassa Deep Dwelling bounce nonsense afterwards. The opponent has lands. They probably don't want to spend a turn casting the Leyline. We'll see how many times they fetch. There's a sorcery speed restriction on this ability. No, there is not. A new Bowmaster? Sure. That makes me slightly sad. I had plans for that. You are a 2-1. You're a 2-1. Skyclave's kind of whatever here. I think I am fine sending in with the 3/3 tokens. I think. Alright, so we have a double block, so my opponent is presumably going to use a removal spell here. They can let that combat damage go through first, though. Oh, shit. I clicked one too many times there. I wanted to play my Thassa Deep Dwelling, obviously. Alright, we are now getting a response. That misclick might cost me this game. That's really, really bad. Alright, there's another fetch. And shock. Shoot the Sheriff. I wouldn't have gotten Thassa Deep Dwelling value immediately. I can turn my 3/3 into a 1/1 Guide of Souls. That's like fine, honestly. I will take that value. Alright, the Leyline comes back. Okay. We can work with this. So I think I go, yeah. Exile that after gaining my life. Then go for Soulherder. Gain another energy. Go to Punchies. Punchies for 1. I don't have the energy yet to do the other thing. Opponent's at 9. Then I think I want to put this one on bottom. We will Soulherder, blink the Skyclave Apparition. I'm going to give my opponent a 2/2 token here. Holy triggers, Batman. And then we're going to exile the Leyline that my opponent took the time and a considerable amount of life to put back into play. I'm going to get some more energy, and then we're going to do this Birthing Ritual thing. I can turn a Guide of Souls into a different Guide of Souls. I can turn Skyclave into Witch Enchanter and get rid of Leyline Binding to get Ocelot Pride. I don't know that that's actually good. What about turning Soulherder into Witch Enchanter? I actually don't hate that. A little weird, but the life is quite relevant right now. And this gives me the City's Blessing, so the Ocelot Pride itself is actually scary. And I'm also just no longer in range of death. With the Thassa Deep Dwelling in hand, I also have Blink stuff covered. So this is all just perfectly fine. Another Aether Channeler too. Sure. Let's cast that immediately. Bounce that token. Gain some energy. Go to Punchies. I don't think I'm super comfortable attacking with the Skyclave in particular. I think the rest is fine. We're going to say yes to this. I think I am into the counters on the Guide of Souls itself. That's something that I am unlikely to blink. I don't want to put it on my Ocelot Pride because if a Bowmaster trigger happens, it's just more of a blowout. Hey, the Bowmasters I was just talking about. Yep. Okay, that trigger does resolve. Yeah, no, you can have Witch Enchanter, that's fine. Cool. A mana short of this. I wish I had cast that on that one turn. It would give me another card draw here. Yes. Let's sacrifice the Aether Channeler. Just want Icefang Coatl. On Voice of Resurgence, hedge against a board wipe. Do Voice of Resurgence. A little weird that I went down in mana value there. Yeah, my opponent has Leyline Bindings and such in their deck. This is an answerable card. This isn't always going to go wild like it is going here. I don't know my opponent's deck well enough to know exactly what I want, but Gaddock Teague here, shutting off Leyline Bindings, is probably real. White Orchid Phantom messing with Triomes and such has some real amount of text as well. Probably need Prismatic Endings for Territorial Kavu. Since this isn't going to trump every removal spell. I don't know that I'm super, super interested in it. Icewind Coatl a little worse versus Bowmasters. Ocelot Pride a little worse versus Bowmasters. I think I'm cutting this. Like, it's the late game value sort of card that I conceptually want, but with my opponent being as aggressive as they are with removing my things, I don't know that I'm always going to have enough stuff to blink. At this point, all my cards seem reasonable. So I'm going to do something like that. Very unsure about sideboarding here. All right, hand seems solid. We have Guide of Souls and Ocelot Pride to start things off. We have Birthing Ritual for value. Like, I like the stuff that's here. Don't mind that draw either. That's the wrong color. I will Temple Garden. We've got a response. Not just a tapped land. Yeah, that's fine. Second land drop. Man, I can't play both spells this turn. My mana's not good enough. This is one of those moments where if we are a straight green-white deck, I get to double one drop here 100% of the time. Well, unless it's like basic forest, but you know. And do I like attack into Bowmaster here? It's pretty bad if that happens. I'm not going to attack into Bowmaster. I think I'm going to try to live the dream of playing both of these in the same turn cycle, and I am just going to drop Birthing Ritual here and see how my opponent responds to that. Like, I don't care if they kill my Guide of Souls in response. Like, that is perfectly fine and good with me. Spell Snare. Sure. I guess I could have Birthing Ritual pre-combat. That was probably the line. And then if my opponent does that, I know the Guide of Souls can get in for one. Third land. It's a straight-up motherfucking Tassiger. It has been a hot minute since I've seen one of those in play. Again, talking about the mana, I cannot play Ocelot Pride and Guide of Souls despite the fact that I am on 3 lands here. While that's not the end of the world, it's really annoying. I also can't Voice of Resurgence plus Ocelot Pride. Wow, that's actually quite bad for me. I'm always playing that. I'm gonna be mana efficient here. Play the 3-drop. And we try to live the dream of double spelling a different day. Although honestly, Collected Company might end up being better. Untapped Steam Vents. What is that? Oh, that's a Scion of Draco. Alright, it doesn't have a bunch of like fun abilities right now. But that does get lifelink. Oh, which is now above in the gray. Interesting. Sure. I'm gonna go ahead and take that. I am at 14. My opponent gains a little life there. Are these things just gonna get covered in words if a leyline hits play? We'll find out. Oh god. Alright. This is now pretty rough. I can't play Coco. I can't play 2 of these cards, so my turn is inefficient no matter what. I'm taking 8 in the air. Can't do too awful much about that. I think I'm into this. Just yield to that. I think for the future, I need to make a flyer here. I think I'm going to crash in. Stop yielding through this turn, actually. I think I'm going to crash in with this. And then pay 3 energy to make it swole. Now I have a 5/5 flyer that can be a 6/6 flyer with trample. And I think it will be. I could wait and like try to put counters on the Ocelot Pride cat token as well. I don't think that matters that much, because that is just getting in front of Tassiger there. Alright, everybody is coming to party. We will block Tassiger. Take 8. Die to these in the air next turn, in theory. But I have made a flyer to try to hedge against that happening. That's a Territorial Kavu. Do you have Trample, First Strike, and Trample? So I can guaranteed onboard Guide of Souls into Voice of Resurgence. Gain 1 life immediately. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is always getting basic white, no matter what. 8 life, 9 life, 10 life. Plus another 4, that's 14. It feels safe enough to just do this then. So yeah, trigger. I guess there could be Bowmaster available, which would mess with my math a little bit. So there's the 10. I don't have lethal, do I? I have like 6 plus 3, 9 in the air. No, not really. I think I am just playing conservatively here. I think the Ocelot Pride attack in is fine. Let's make that fly. If that lifelinks, cool. If it doesn't, I would be sad. There's only 1 card in my opponent's hand. And all I am trying to do is just make it one more turn cycle, and I assume that if I cast Collected Company with 2 Guide of Souls in play, that my opponent ends up dead somehow. Like, specifics be damned. That probably just works out for me. Alright, we have a Leyline Binding. So that gives me a Voice of Resurgence elemental token, since my opponent did that on my own turn here. Now my opponent's got some choices. So they're going to go for my flyer in an attempt to let the Scion of Dracos continue to get in. That means my opponent takes 3 Ocelot Pride trigger with the City's Blessing and multiple Guide of Souls. I have a shit ton of life and a lot of creatures. A ridiculously thick elemental token as well. This is a 9/9 as of right now. Opponent needs a hell of a banger as their draw. That is a Tasigur activation, which forcibly returns Leyline of the Guild Pact to hand, and we win the match there. Definitely thought we were dead when, like, I was facing down 12 power and kind of had nothing. We had some mana problems this game. Once those mana problems went away and I got this engine online, I did quickly overpower what my opponent was doing. But despite the fact that I ended this game at 21 life, the margins on this win were really, really thin. Alright, I don't want to beat the dead horse on the mana base here, but I don't think blue needs to be in this deck. I don't know that I should keep this hand. Like, it is missing a color. It doesn't have a follow-up for Guide of Souls. I think I can just do better than this. I mean, yeah. With a land off the top, this is very good. I'm going to keep this. I'm going to throw back the secondary Birthing Ritual here. It's possible I should just throw back Soulherder. It's just going to be much harder to cast this game. Need green-white here. And we're going to go for Guide of Souls, and we are hoping for another white land off the top to just double drop Ocelot Pride. Scalding Tarn. And pass. We'll send in for our 1. Maybe they'll have nothing. Maybe they will have absolutely nothing. Holy shit, they had absolutely nothing. Holy shit. Alright. Guide of Souls double Ocelot Pride with 0 interaction for it. Yeah. We'll see if my opponent is doing something innately unfair of their own, though, that has the potential to outpower what I'm doing. 16. Ruby Medallion. Alright, so there's some storm nonsense, and I don't have another land to Prismatic Ending this, which is super unfortunate. So I might just fucking die. So I've got that going for me. Yes, we're going to put this on the lifelinker in case my exact life total ends up being relevant, and then we will make friends. We are not immediately to the City's Blessing. What was that? That was a Ren's Resolve. The art just didn't go up very much. A Reckless Impulse. Make this a little bigger here. There's some scary things that can be happening that become a lot less scary if I just hit 1 land for Prismatic Ending and I just answer one of Ral or Ruby Medallion. Manamorphose is very good. That's a +1 red mana. A Looting. Oh, that was a flashback Looting. That's probably the tail end of my opponent's mana for this turn. Yeah. I'm going to assume that removing Ruby Medallion is good. I think that is better than casting Birthing Ritual. So let's just take that out. Go to Punchies. Punchies. I have 2 energy currently, so I'm not getting any bonus value out of the attack, but I am now having the City's Blessing. I am at 33 life. That might just be enough that we just, like, oops, accidentally to this game by playing 3 cards. Gemstone Cavern. There's a Reckless Impulse immediately. Opponent does not appear to have the mana to start the turn off with Ruby Medallion or Ral, and I honestly think we get a little lucky here. I'm going to take a second and just look at what this deck looks like in Modern, because I honestly don't know. Okay, so Artist's Talent, recast, loot. Okay, sure. So we know about Ral already. Grape Shot. Okay, so it is a Past in Flames deck. That's the sort of thing I was curious about. I have Pyroclasm that should be on my radar. Okay. So this is fine versus Past in Flames. This is fine versus Past in Flames. Collector Oof, I guess technically does some stuff. Gaddock Teague does some stuff. What about Lavinia? Lavinia technically does stuff versus Past in Flames, I guess. And then there's some other things that I could play. So this is slow. This is probably unnecessary. What all can you bounce? Anything? Yeah, non-lands. These probably are less necessary. I'm just playing a Hate Bears deck that can randomly return the Hate Bears. My Birthing Rituals are largely selection for Hate Bears. Gaddock Teague, Coco combo. Let's do that then. Well, like, okay, worked last time. I'm much more interested in like being super aggressive with a Hate Bear when I am on the play, I think. So we will just Guide of Souls into Ocelot Pride immediately. My opponent can do some surveilling nonsense along the way. Saying no to a Ruby Medallion. I'm assuming they're playing a Ruby Medallion or a Ral or something this turn. It is a Ruby Medallion. We're not quite to Witch Enchanter here. I'm gonna play Ocelot Pride, get this thing going, and probably just surveil with my remaining resources and make cats, which makes energy. So I think I could die this turn. I think I'm likely to die next turn if I don't do something cool of my own. Opponent's not exactly hitting bangers over there, though. This is until the end of your next turn, by the way. There's a looting. Oh, wow. That's so much of the same stuff. All right, so I want either blue or green with this. Let's go blue. Golem Friend? I don't think Golem Friend's better than a Hate Bear. Another Guide of Souls. Okay. Without thinking about that, Guide of Souls, green, blue, green, draw a card, get some energy, 5 energy, go to combat, send in Guide of Souls, yes, counters on cat, and then we deal a bunch of damage, make some cats. I am at 29. I have what I imagine will probably be lethal next turn if I don't die. You know, that is an if. You make treasures. You know, you make Eldrazi spawns. Sure, there was a Pyritic Ritual there and another one. Wow, opponent only has 2 cards in hand. Caverns. There's a Glimpse. There's a Pyroclasm. It's a great value card for my opponent. That's just 1 mana, kill most of my creatures. But not everything. The Ocelot Pride remaining in play and continuing to gain me life. Kind of a big deal. There's a Wish. My opponent hit a lot of lands this turn off their various rummage spells or whatever you want to call them. All right, there is Wish. What does that do? Oh, an Underworld Breach. That probably kills me somehow. So my opponent can now start replaying rituals and replaying these rummage effects. The graveyard size is technically a limited resource here, but there's 14 cards in graveyard right now, so I think opponent is likely to thread the needle here, especially with a Wish in graveyard already. Like, it seems like this should be winnable for my opponent. But I am not proficient enough in this deck to just go, this is the line that I am deterministically dead with. I don't know how much life this deck is realistically built to plow through. There's a new ritual. All right. Ral turns into this. So now my opponent can exile those top 8 cards and presumably do some gross things here. I'm now going to narrate major changes in board state, as my opponent is likely to draw a bunch of cards and cast a bunch of rituals. They do fire off the Pyroclasm. My opponent has made a white mana for a Prismatic Ending. Sure, just clean up a little bit. I can respect that. There's a Past in Flames cast. Surely I'm dead. Alright, my opponent casts Wish, and then Grape Shot with a storm count of 30 does kill me. I'm not going to make my opponent click through that. That's a pain in the butt. But now that I know that it is also Underworld Breach, I might even want to go so far as to play Endurance. Do I want Icefang Coatls out just because they're blue? I honestly might. I don't know that Icefang Coatl is better than Renegade Rallier here. And again, we're treating Birthing Ritual as just tutors. Keep one of those. Draneth Magistrate shutting off spells from exile seems sweet. I am into that. We unfortunately have double blue-white land here. Rip Voice of Resurgence. But the plan is fully just Guide of Souls into Draneth. And Draneth has a big enough butt that it lives through Pyroclasm. So we've got that going for us. Ye old Scalding Tarn. Perfectly fine. Do a love tap for 1. Pay the Modern Toll. And drop Draneth Magistrate. Now we have seen Prismatic Ending in my opponent's deck. So it's not like we are just putting our opponents on very few outs to this. But it's probably a must-answer card. And some of my opponent's things that dig aren't going to be on anymore. Ral is fine. Ral I will just Skyclave Apparition and move on with my life. That's a fine draw. I don't do that right now, though. So yes, I've dealt a gajillion damage to myself. Skyclave Ral. Go to Punchies. Attack for 3. Things are going well here. Alright, there's a ritual. Valakut Awakening. In a fair capacity, this is just our opponent probably trying to dig towards Prismatic Ending. Yeah, full on 5 cards. Absolutely respect it. Let's get 2 deeper. Notably, the flashback for Faithless Looting is not going to be on. Prismatic Ending, that's kind of whatever. Here's my 3rd energy for Guide of Souls. We will go to Punchies. We will Punchies. Say yes. What do I want to live through? Pyroclasm. Honestly, probably just the Guide of Souls. And then we will do the Ocelot Pride energy thing one more time here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And potentially get another energy by pitch casting an Endurance. That does not cast green cards. Send in. Opponent is at 1. I will make a cat. Actually, 2 cats. I do get the City's Blessing there. Alright, we get there. Turns out that Guide of Souls into Ocelot Pride, surprisingly good in this matchup. Although, almost certainly Draneth Magistrate is what won us this game. Yeah. I am in for this hand. We're playing against another Daybreak Games account. Well, everyone has decided to show up to the cat party. Very well. Yes, I'm going to lead on my Guide of Souls here. It, in theory, walls Ocelot Pride. I say in theory because there's a decent chance that my opponent just has a removal spell of some kind. Alright, so it looks like they are closer to the energy side of things than I am. The first strike here means my Icefang Coatl is not doing me any favors. I also don't have a fetch land to set up Renegade Rallier for next turn. That's not the best for me. I am unhappy with this current situation. Let's Surveil and try to make it better. Yeah, that's fine. I will play this for mana efficiency here. Next turn, I can Prismatic Ending one of these 2 cards and do something cool. By something cool, I might mean Icefang Coatl, but, can't have it all. Static Prison goes down 1 energy here. Oh, fuck. Super bad. Super, super, super bad for me. Alright, what am I Prismatic Ending-ing? With Goblin Bombardment there, I might need to just stop Ocelot Pride. I hate it. I can throw that at my face for 1. Yep. And then I will shock this. I guess I don't need to show my opponent Icefang Coatl immediately. Unless they're Mardu and then Bowmaster is a thing. So this runs my opponent out of energy, in theory. Every point of life is precious right now, is my current opinion. Plus the redraw is just perfectly reasonable. And my opponent can make this trade or throw it at my face, whatever they want to do. I imagine they want to take the trade. I'm just putting that Icefang Coatl in graveyard so that I can bring it back with Renegade Rallier if I get Revolt. Fable. Great value. I can Aether Channeler that token out of play. Also have Prismatic Ending. Yeah, not triggering Revolt for this is real rough right now. I could ending the token and play Aether Channeler. I could also just Prismatic Ending the Fable and just give my opponent the energy token for a turn. It's not a token, but blue, green, white. Let's take out Fable and hope that that's the correct choice. Goblin Bombardment still an issue. Other things like Flage could be coming slightly down the line, be a problem. Return to me, Guide of Souls. There's the attack. I'll be taking this 2, going to 11. And then it's just a, like, how bad is it? Okay. Just draw a card. That's fine. Now what? Okay. Still fine. Okay. Still wish I had Revolt. I think we are going to deal with things one card at a time here. Thraben Charm. Sure. Now we have Revolt, but not mana. So we are going to bounce this token, which is effectively just trading Channeler for this, because my opponent will throw it with Bombardment. That's currently fine. My opponent has 1 card. All I'm hoping for is a fetch land to just go fetch, grab a basic, Renegade Rallier, return Ocelot Pride or Guide of Souls or whatever, then play Icefang Coatl as well. Thank you. So let's fetch. Grab a basic. Renegade Rallier for 3. I want an Icefang Coatl or an Ocelot Pride. Ocelot Pride is pretty fragile with Bombardment in play. I could just take Guide of Souls, start gaining energy immediately. And then I can cast Icefang Coatl at my own convenience. This seems fine. Sure. I am going to gain an energy and a life right there, in case that becomes relevant for later. Prismatic Ending is great. That leaves my opponent with 1 energy. What is that? That is a dashed Ragavan. Absolutely. That's only 2 energy. They can't make it fly. They're 3-2. Do I just double block here so that my opponent can't throw Guide of Souls at Icefang Coatl to keep the Ragavan for later? Yes. I am fine with that. I don't want this Ragavan just coming in turn after turn after turn, providing energy. Alright, so we are just going to full on clear the board here. Okay. Probably ends up being fine. I don't think I'm going to remove Goblin Bombardment immediately. I think I'm just going to start trying to get my value this way and assume that it works out fine. I can get a Luminous Broodmoth here. Sure. I will happily do so. And then that just means whatever other creature I pick up becomes kind of crazy with Birthing Ritual. I hope I've turned the corner here. Thraben Charm. Boo. The Broodmoth is still perfectly fine, to be honest. So let's just take out that Goblin Bombardment. I'll send in for 3. Opponent's at 19. And we'll drop Voice of Resurgence. I think it is likely at this point that my average draw step is better than my opponent's average draw step. But there are some things that they could draw, such as Flage, that would be a little bit annoying. Alright, they are going to take out the Voice of Resurgence, which is a play that my opponent is legally allowed to make, but I don't think one that is positive for them. 3, 6, 7, 8. I can bounce my opponent's Flage when they play one. I might just draw a card here, honestly, though. I have so many value-oriented things here, and by putting 1 extra body in play, my elemental token can't die anymore to Flage. Okay, that was enough for our opponent here. Yeah, so I think you send the Flage trigger at face, and then, I don't know, maybe you hope to draw a Galvanic Discharge, and you, like, Flage, bring back Galvanic Discharge the Broodmoth at the same time. So if I get into my mid-game bullshit, I feel good. Let's Sanctifier in Vec, become better versus Flage. I might Endurance to become better versus Flage as well. Like, that's the thing that burns me out. That really scares me if I make it past the opening turns. And then, like, I could do something like play a 2/2 First Striker. Like a 2/2 First Striker. Very cleanly walls a 1/1 First Striker. This feels slow. I'm going to cut that. The Renegade Ralliers are insane or dead. There's very little in between with them. Coco on the draw might be ambitious. Birthing Ritual is a little worse versus, like, probably a full playset of Thraben Charm. Still think I need Birthing Ritual. I think my deck is built around it. I don't really get better at answering Goblin Bombardment. Maybe I could trim. Aether Channeler bounces some things out of play in a relevant way. Maybe I go down on some Ice Fangs. I don't know. I am low on time here, so I'm going to call something like this good enough. Absolutely not. Not enough mana. Alright. I have been one land short of playable hands pretty consistently throughout this league. Alright, so we can open up the same as last time and hope that it works out better. This is a green-white land, for sure. And we'll lead on Guide of Souls under the same logic as last time. Let's see if we eat a removal spell. Oh, safe? Oh. Well, unless some sort of weirdo board wipe happens, this gets wild pretty quickly. That was good enough to get a response, which is weird to me, because if you have a response to Guide of Souls, don't you just kill that and get in and make your cat? No. Something's coming in a minute, and I don't know what it is. So I'm going to play another cat and hope I'm not walking into something really bad. No attack. Do this. Make lots of friends. I'm not crazy, right? Opponent shocked? Right? Lage. We have endurance for that. Imagine I lose Guide of Souls. I do. 3 cards in graveyard. We'll need to keep an eye on that. Opponent did gain life. They get their cat. Holy shit. Yes. Let's send on in with this. Yeah, that's fine. Also fine. Now, I think I just play another one. And we just roll with 3 sets of these tokens happening. Maybe I don't attack with the cat tokens and I only attack with the actual Ocelot Prides, though. That's 4 in graveyard. I have to fire off Endurance, probably pitching Voice of Resurgence if another card hits the graveyard. Oh man, I'm going to eat 2 Flages at the same time. Sure. I lose an Ocelot Pride. What is that? 1 damage to target creature or planeswalker. 5 damage if it's white or blue. Uncounterable. Sure. That does a good job of cleaning up my resources. Hopefully just like Birthing Ritual with a bunch of cat tokens is like perfectly fine from here. I think I'm just into this. And then I think I'm just hoping to convert a cat token into a 1-drop right now. Oh. Sanctifier Invac is kind of good. Then I don't have to Endurance. Okay. I'm not really planning on sacrificing Ocelot Pride, but get out. And then I just hope that Birthing Ritual takes over the game. Static Prison. Pretty good. That answers my Birthing Ritual in the short term. Prismatic Ending to answer that would be cool. Oh, Ajani. That seems like the sort of card that I should be playing. Alright, so opponent has the City's Blessing, but... This is now a little weird. I can't block cats. Can't really attack. Opponent doesn't have a red permanent yet. I may be just waiting out Static Prison here. I think that's what's happening, is I'm trying to wait out Static Prison. Like, I get Birthing Ritual, I find something that cleans up Ajani, and then we're done here. Yeah, I'm a little worried, though. Yeah, I'm just going to take 2 here. Not letting this flip. I'm not super poised to remove that immediately. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. That is fantastic selection. That's a red permanent for Ajani as well. Prismatic Ending. So do I want the Birthing Ritual or do I want to get rid of Ajani? I hopefully just end up getting this back naturally. I think it's too easy for me to just lose the game if that thing flips. So green-white, do that. And I think I'm currently on the defensive. I don't think I'm going to try attacking with my creatures to push 2 damage. I think if I win this game, I will win this game by a lot, not a little. Like, I think I get Birthing Ritual back and I just start churning out everything. So my opponent's out of energy, but gets to look at a hand. Oh no, they like their card. Showdown of the Scalds. All right. So those Flages are removal spells. The Ajani is, of course, Ajani. That's perfectly good. What are the other modes of this? When you cast a spell, it's a +1/+1 counter? Yeah. So my opponent wants the bonus energy. I will block their thing with my pro-red creature. That's fine. Oh wait, hold on. That was incorrect. This is their exile zone from that spell. That was a revealed card zone. All right, what just happened? Seasoned Pyromancer, sure. So I'm going to get my Birthing Ritual back, but Thraben Charm can happen. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, cool. Do I need to play another Sanctifier Invec, actually? So that Thraben Charm doesn't kill Sanctifier Invec, and then really fuck with what I'm doing? I think I do. Maybe I don't. Yeah, because the Flages were from before. That was me just pulling up the wrong zone. So let's just do this. So I will Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride, gain my life. I am on 5 energy. I think I'm okay just like attacking with a cat token or something and putting some counters on it. I think I want to leave my bigger bodies back, but like flying cat seems fine. Opponent goes to 15, and then we do the City's Blessing cat thing. And we see how crazy of a turn my opponent is capable of having. My Birthing Ritual, if you would. Opponent has Reflection of Kiki-Jiki. Chained to the Rocks. Sure. Opponent, in theory, would like to make a large life-linking Ocelot Pride. Alright, my Sanctifier Invec is going. That's fine. It's a cat. That is going to be one large problematic Ocelot Pride by the end of this turn cycle here. Alright, I am losing the Birthing Ritual. So now there is a 4/4 first striker, which I could multi-block, or just throw one cat token in the way of and not have it actually be that big of a deal. So let us Sanctifier Invec here. I'll continue to get more energy. I'll go to combat. I would like my own Ocelot Pride to fly, please. Let's send that and send that. Ocelot Pride gets bigger. I'll gain a bunch of life. I'll do the cat thing again. So my opponent has Reflection of Kiki-Jiki and can potentially do some pretty gross things here. A Galvanic Discharge. Alright, so they are going to flip their Planeswalker by blowing up a cat. That seems perfectly reasonable. So now my opponent can start trying to kill my creatures. Starting with my Ocelot Pride. Honestly, fair. Makes sense. So the Flage isn't going to stick around forever due to Sanctifier Invec, luckily. But I am going to lose some Primo cards here. Collection of Kiki-Jiki copies Seasoned Pyromancer. And there's a land drop. My opponent doesn't have flyers, though. The Ocelot Pride comes in. The one... I think I actually want to chump block with Voice of Resurgence. I think I am into having that large creature token. So this has 3 loyalty. My opponent has no flyers. I do get to just kill that. Oh, geez. Endurance doesn't do a lot here. So let's send in... Let's eliminate the Planeswalker. Oh, shit. That's bad. I think that's going to do me in. Like, without doing the math of it. I imagine that my opponent is just going to overpower me with that Planeswalker. Sure. You just put Goblin Bombardment into graveyard. Which is wild to me, because I'm pretty sure that card just kills me. Like, I just don't conceptually understand how I would beat Goblin Bombardment. Oh, they just had another one. Well, shit. So, I'm not going to play this out from here. I think with my opponent's active Reflection of Kiki-Jiki plus Goblin Bombardment that they've got this one. Like, I could try to grind time, but I might need this time as well. I think I want those Birthing Rituals back, despite the fact that my opponent can answer them. Sanctifier Invec is much more important than I initially realized. I have no idea what my weakest card is. It seems really hard for Icefang Coatl's Death Touch to be turned on. Maybe Endurances are too much. Resort this by mana value. Alright, this is fine. I think I can start off on a basic here and play Ocelot Pride. 18. I'm going to go ahead and attack. I don't think it makes sense to just like jam Voice of Resurgence. My opponent can answer Ocelot Pride on the stack if they want to, and they're presumably answering this card. Yeah. So I think my plan here is Voice of Resurgence into Birthing Ritual next turn. I think that's the direction that I am likely to take this. I might Aether Channeler as a tempo play if my opponent just plays a 2-drop that I can cleanly bounce. Can't cleanly bounce this. Now I need a dual land. I need to Guide of Souls plus Birthing Ritual while also having access to blue. Probably want blue-white. So Guide of Souls, Birthing Ritual, and we'll just see where this goes. No attacks. Skyclave is great. Sacrifice Voice. Pick up Skyclave. Skyclave the potential Planeswalker while making a decent-sized elemental token. We'll see if I lose Birthing Ritual immediately to something like Thraben Charm or Prismatic Ending. Guide of Souls. Ocelot Pride. Good cards are good. 2/1 cat comes in. Opponent has enough energy to make that into a flyer. That makes sense. I will take that damage. Then Ocelot Pride stuff happens. Sanctifier is cool. I think Soulherder is cooler. I'm into this. This is my third energy. Always yield to that. I think I need to be able to attempt to pressure back. So I think I am into this attack. Yes. Ooh, Galvanic Discharge. That's reasonable. I do not have time to think about whether or not that was the optimal Galvanic Discharge target. Ritual. Rallier? Rallier is pretty cool. I'll sacrifice the Apparition. I will get the Rallier. I will Rallier. Get back Ocelot Pride. My opponent gets a friend. So now I have my own Guide of Souls Ocelot Pride token engine. And Birthing Ritual. I have Aether Channeler to bounce that 4/3 token on the other side of the battlefield. I have Sanctifier Invec if Flage gets involved. Haste. Okay, honestly, that could be worse. Does Flage go to graveyard? Blood Moon goes to graveyard. Noted. Sure. Alright, lots of things coming in. So where is this going on? Ocelot Pride, I assume? Yes. So then I have a 3/2 that I probably need to soak up some life points with. Take out the token. And my opponent does this stuff. I am really afraid of my opponent going wide of what I am doing here. I think I need to, junk that flyer. It might be worth it to take one more to not have Ocelot Pride in play, but my opponent just recasts that. All right, so now I am on the defensive. I will attack with Ocelot Pride, though. It just gains me so much life. So send in with this. Oh, I need to not yield to this turn, actually. I need to stack my triggers in a certain way. All right, gain a little life. Triggers Birthing Ritual on bottom so that Ocelot Pride trigger resolves first. Gives me the Guide of Souls trigger. Luminous Broodmoth. I'm into that. Renegade Rallier also good. Regardless, I am sacrificing this. How much am I taking if I just get attacked all out? Roughly 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Very close to lethal. I might just need a secondary body here rather than this. So this is going to gain me more life. I can pick up Voice of Resurgence here. I don't have a ton of time to think about my play. The client is lagging a bit from all of these permanents that we have put into play. I also have an 8-power flyer held back, actually, so I'm not actually taking that damage from Ocelot Pride. Fuck, maybe I could have gotten the Broodmoth thingy. New Arena of Glory. Ooh, Witch Enchanter is very good, but I do have another Birthing Ritual. So that's good for me. Opponent's flyer is a 3/3. Mine can be bigger than that on attack. Alright, my opponent does get more cats, though. Surveil. I'm going to play lazy here. Time is a factor. Alright, I have 3 energy. I'm going to send in with just my Ocelot Pride, I think. I'm going to keep the rest back. Fuck, I can't F6 these. Always yield to that. Alright, my opponent takes that. An end step. Birthing Ritual, trigger on bottom. I have the City's Blessing. Gain energy. Do the thing. Pick up Renegade Rallier. Sacrificing a Voice of Resurgence. And then that will just get me back another Voice of Resurgence. It's perfectly fine and good. Crazy game. I think next turn I can potentially just swing out in the air and kill my opponent, or very close to it. Showdown of the Scalds. Well, that's a damn good one at this stage of the game. There's a Flage, Ghost Vacuum, Seasoned, Woozy What's It. This is all fine. That can be tapped. Oh man, the lag is bad. At this point, I am going to go ahead and F6. I'm going to do my triggers in a suboptimal order. I don't think it matters. I might have lethal here if I attack with more things. I do not have time to check. Yes. Fly on another elemental token here. Opponent blocks an elemental token. Alright. Triggers at end of turn. Opponent's at 4. Some permanents bounce around. Salvager is cool. Let's do that. Sack a Voice of Resurgence to get that. Let's not yield through the end of turn anymore. I have something else that I want to do here. Oh wait, no, it's Summoning Sick. JK. Yield the fuck out of this. Go on stack, please. So my opponent can get a bunch of +1/+1 counters on this. There is a Seasoned Pyromancer, which is just functioning as a raw draw 2 here. There is a Flage. I don't think anything that's happening here is putting my opponent at a high enough life total where they survive these flyers. If I lose the Guide of Souls, that's not really a problem at this stage. Alright, I will cast a Guide of Souls. I'll go to combat, send it, send it, send it, send it. Alright, there is the concession. And despite my complaints about this deck list, we did go 4-1, and we put on an incredible show. Alright, overall thoughts on the deck list. The core of this deck list is, I think, objectively powerful. I think there's wiggle room in the supporting cast, though. I do not believe that the blue cards added enough in this league to be worth making the mana base worse. Of the blue cards, I think I like Soulherder the best. I think it has the potential to create a large creature while also giving you value, whereas a lot of the other things you're doing in the deck are going wide. So I think having the possibility to create the large Voice of Resurgence tokens and the large Soulherder, I think those are good. I think I boarded out Thassa in just about every round. I think it's just too expensive. I am not convinced that Collected Company is correct. Modern is fast. I think I just want more things, like maybe at 2, that are helping me to bridge this like 1, 2, 3 curve. Something that I said in the beginning is that I wish that I had Solitude Ephemerate just as another angle to take here. Having played the deck more, I don't know if Solitude is 100% necessary. I do think it's good. It's another way for you to gain life to trigger Ocelot Pride. Like we saw with Flage in that last round, having ways other than just the Guide of Souls to gain you that life, I think is valuable. I really like the Singleton Luminous Broodmoth, even though I didn't take it sometimes when I had the opportunity to. I think that card is very strong. Had we had a little bit more time on the clock, we would have started to see Sandstorm Salvager activating to put +1/+1 counters on like not only cat tokens, but Voice of Resurgence tokens, the golems. And I think that card is pretty good. Stand the fuck out of this card. This card was gas. Would consider a 4th. Like, it was really good. You probably don't want a 4th, but like, I would think about it. And one thing that I did before I recorded this video is I just pulled up, it was either a 5-0 or a challenge deck list. I just wanted to see what other people were doing with this. And so some other cards that you could consider are White Orchid Phantom in the main deck. You could consider Ranger Captain of Eos to be a tutor for the Guide of Souls and Ocelot Prides. This list is playing fewer copies of Renegade Ralliers and is trying Eternal Witness instead. Eternal Witness will be more consistent than Renegade Rallier, but Renegade Rallier's upside is much higher. I could see throwing Ajani into this deck as well. Just lean into that Guide of Souls, Ocelot, Pride, Ajani early game, and have Birthing Ritual bullshit for the end game. That can be very strong. One thing I dislike about this is that Witch Enchanter is kind of your only bridge to Solitude as you are going up the Birthing Ritual curve. So Timothy, I hope that gives you some good food for thought on improving your brew here. I think you're on the right track. I think if you want to keep the blue, Thassa Deep Dwelling probably goes. Play a couple more 2-drops or a couple more pieces of interaction of some kind, help get you out of that early game. It's possible the mana base can be smoothed out a little bit. So this has 2 Witch Enchanters plus 19 lands. This other one had 20 lands plus 3 Witch Enchanters. Yeah, maybe you just need to turn Asa Deep Dweller into a land. Maybe 2? It might be 2 if you're going to run 2 Surveil lands. You also might be able to play with some of the numbers a little bit in terms of number of things that blink things versus number of things that have ETB effects. Like, not to hate on Thassa Deep Dwelling more, but if you are playing the Rituals plus Soul Hoarders plus these, that's a lot of cards that do the same thing, which is often good. But if you don't have your cards that you want to blink, and sometimes you might not want to blink something like a Skyclave, or maybe you don't want to blink a creature that already has some +1/+1 counters on it. Maybe you turn these into 2 lands. Maybe you go down 1 Soulherder for Najani. You play White Orchids in the main deck. Although White Orchids in the main deck while trying to have the 3 lands for Icefang Coatl is rough. It could also be that you don't, like, play the snow-covered lands to turn on Icefang Coatl and you just do it as something that draws a card. Or maybe there's some other Wall of Omens type effect that draws a card at 2 mana that would be fine. Regardless, go into the tank, find your ETB value creatures, and have fun with them. This deck gets my seal of approval, even in its current state, even though I think it has some problems. Timothy, I think you've got a good deck here, and I think you should be proud of this one. Folks, if you want to play something like this, you know where to go. Promo code ThrabenU will let them know that they should keep supporting my content, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. See ya!